before every council meeting now.
So you can play the dead.
What's that?
Grateful Dead?
Can I play the Grateful Dead? I can play anything you want.
Sugar Magnolia.
No, you didn't.
No, we went right over set.
So if you bring a harmonica, I have a keyboard. I've never played it, but we can have a band before.
I'll try this one.
Oh my gosh, this sounds great. Kyle, you probably sing. You look like a singer.
Bad idea.
Publicly.
Yeah, we could do like the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
It's glass in it.
Costume singing.
It's a bad idea. It's good. Let's get the bad ideas out first.
All right. Give me about 2 minutes to get them out.
That's good.
Lane, what instrument are you bringing?
Instrument.
The instrument of truth.
With spoons.
Oh, wow.
That brought it back in.
See? You've relaxed the crowd with that music. I think we might have to have an executive meeting after.
Like a Billy Joel cover band. So he sang Billy Joel stuff. Yeah, it was like last Thanksgiving in New York. And the guy was so good that now he plays for Billy Joel, like in the band. But it was, if you like Billy Joel, I don't know if you do. But it was, the best one
I think. Lane looks like a drummer.
so good.
I think we have a brass section here. John, could you play a trombone?
Brassy.
Okay.
I
don't think any of us are going to do it well.
No.
Oh, that's right. You
Hopefully
sing.
some junior staff will get to write it.
A lot of it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They didn't ask me to do it.
All right, John's our singer. But...
No.
Oh no, you stepped right up. Nope, you stepped into it.
He's so good at trying to helping them out.
Do you? Tiny Tim.
Because,
So it's Sal. We can do this Valentine's Day. It's coming.
Sir. You need to learn how to play deep waves. Do you play them? Okay. Play it outside.
Yes, please.
Sure.
10-second warning. Meeting's about to start.
My wife said
We're not synced to NASA.
35.
Yeah. You know, as many times as we've asked to be synced,
You see?
our borough manager let us down.
again.
Oh no, we're
Again.
fast. We're over.
Time being 7 o'clock, I will call the council meeting and committee session of Borough Council to order. We will start with an announcement that the meetings of Mechanicsburg Borough Council are recorded and live streamed for the purposes of transparency and increased public access. The live stream, along with the recordings of previously held meetings, can be accessed on the borough's YouTube channel. We will continue with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Here.
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 Here, man.
Thank you. The local climate action plan presentation is not going to be held tonight and is moved to the February 6th meeting due to the inclement weather. So
Apropos.
we'll postpone that and we look forward to the presentation. Moving on to approval of the agenda. Is there anything to add or remove from the consent agenda or regular agenda? Hearing none. Are there any amendments or changes to the proposed minutes? Hearing none. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Vice President Anthony moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilwoman Agerton seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. Moving on to citizens' comment. Is anyone here this evening that is here for citizens' comment? Seeing none, we will move on to the mayor's report.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. December 31st Red Shop was as successful as the rain would allow. Had extra tents and good local music. And again, thank you to Sarah Westby. The January 6th Union Church meeting, maintenance, future, and financials were discussed. The 10th, Renaissance Mechanicsburg held an update on the rebuilding the square project. We all attended with lots of interest and questions. The 16th of January, the Mechanicsburg Police Department held a buffet and awards ceremony. Time and grade and outstanding service to the community were acknowledged. Lieutenant Brian Curtis gave a report on his recent time spent with the FBI and Quantico, Virginia. End of report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moving on to consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Councilman Bjork moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Martin seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the items on the consent agenda?
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda items are approved. Moving on to the regular agenda.
Thank you, Mr. President. First item is an announcement on creation and appointment of members to steering committee for the 2024 comprehensive plan.
Yes, I have a list here. The list of appointments to the steering committee. First being the president of council, second being Councilwoman Agerton, who is the chair of the Economic Development Committee. Another being a planning commission member. The DMP president, Jillian Morrison. Historic district expert, who will be Brian Haynes. Member at large will be Terry Baker. And the CCHRA executive director, Mary Kuna. County planning director, Kurt Stoner. And we are looking for some other members potentially to serve from who took part in the active transportation plan. So I've yet to contact those members, but they're looking for someone to serve from that. So we will look forward to starting that process and getting the comprehensive plan underway. Does anybody have any comments or questions regarding the steering committee or the comprehensive plan process in general? It's good. So hearing none, we'll move on to the committee meetings. That's under committee meetings.
Ah, yes.
And we'll start with Borough Manager's report.
Yes, sir. The manager's report is published in the packets and it went online. Admittedly, a little bit late. It didn't go on until yesterday. Nothing additional to report. What I would ask is that anyone who would like to see additional information or items or really any comment or critique about the report, please send them my direction. I'm always looking for ways to make it better. Barring any questions, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Moving on to Finance, Administration, and Ordinance, Vice President Anthony.
Looks like we have 3 items. Discussion on the requested ordinance change regarding stray cats. I don't know if the manager would like to take a lead on that conversation.
Yes, sir. We did just receive very late a kind of lengthy and informative memo from Solicitor Cassidy based on his action item from last meeting. And I know that council probably hasn't had an opportunity to review it all, but I would encourage you to make sure that you read it all before we kind of proceed with the matter.
Okay. Council okay with moving on then to putting this on the agenda next time?
Sure. I mean, I think we can put it on for discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Move on then. Update on the status of the borough property acquisition.
Yes, very briefly, and I've added the current status to the slides that are on the website. A couple of things. First, all the inspections have come back. And I've highlighted that here on the slide. All the inspections are back, and the borough engineer has reviewed them. They've all come back, and he sees no problems with them. There are a couple of follow-up issues that we're working on with a couple of different vendors just to get some cost estimates on some remediation actions. But I'll come back with a full report on the inspection to council within the next couple of meetings. And then if you go to the next slide, I did receive a question through our website form. The question was that a resident had heard that we were going to be creating a fence there for the parking lot, and they wanted to make sure they could weigh in and let me know that, let you all know that that would probably not look very good to have a fenced-in parking lot there. And I just responded to them immediately, just saying that we haven't really talked about anything related to fences in it. So that's what I've received so far through the website form, through emails, texts, and phone calls. That's all that I've heard on the topic. That's all I have on that issue today.
Thank you. Would you like to take the lead on the next one as well?
Yes, sir. The draft policy for municipal investments, that policy is in your packets. The policy is very narrow in scope. It really is just a small guidance memo on how we want to execute the investment of municipal dollars into certificates of deposit. These are allowed by Borough Code, but we didn't want to try to write a policy memo that covered every type of investment, just CDs. And really the memo, if you have a chance to review it, talks about not only what the parameters are for investment, but also kind of the operating procedures for how the finance committee chair, the council president, and the borough manager can operate that investment strategy. And then it has some reporting and transparency requirements in there as well.
So for council's benefit, the conversation started with what do we want to do in terms of buying CDs, and it morphed into let's create a policy so that we don't have to come back and rethink this every time. So that's why you have the policy statement in front of you. If you want to take a look at it over the next 2 weeks, and then maybe we can come back and approve it so that we can move forward with purchasing. So we've spoken with one entity. I think we're getting pricing from a couple of others. So we should be ready to make purchases as soon as you are ready to approve the policy. Any other thoughts from the committee or the council? Hearing none. We're good? Okay. I believe that's all we have right now.
Public Works and Safety, Councilman Buick.
Thank you. So we have a variety of reports in our packet. I'm assuming everybody took a look. Superintendent Huey and Engineer Medinsky are not here. Any questions on sanitary sewer? comments? Nothing. Public Works, PWD is there, and Engineer Rogalski are not here. Any questions or comments on that report?
Briefly, sir, Mr. Curtis and Mr. Lair, I gave them the night off. They were in late last night
Why?
on snow ops. So, sorry, I do apologize. I should have told you ahead of time. Sorry.
I was going to say nice job to them on the snow management. So thank you. Please thank them.
Mhm.
Any other comments on the snow management? Nope. Public Safety Department. Chief? No. Anybody have any questions, comments, thoughts for the chief?
I noticed that in our consent agenda tonight, we had a police officer resigned. Is there any more story to that, or any more information they'd be willing to provide?
Yes, the job and state agency, the state agency is going to different work, to probably find a fire in very fast. So it's kind of a real life.
Was there an award ceremony held last night?
Any other comments, questions, or thoughts? How many council members, if they had more notice, would have attended an award ceremony for our police department? Almost all of us. All of us. I know you said, thank you very much. Next time we'll do that. And Councilman Miller is going to pick up the tab for all the food.
Wow. This is on the record, you know.
All in favor?
Aye.
One opposed.
One opposed.
Lobster tail and fillet.
Not that I don't support an award ceremony.
Thank you, Chief. EMC Wardle, would you like to highlight anything?
Yeah, a few things to highlight. The special needs registry has been approved, and at this point, we're just waiting for it to be posted on the Borough website. The weather has been rather active over the last month, between rain and snow, and more snow to come, and then more rain to come, it looks like, after that. So, we're trying to keep everybody informed that it's been a busy month. And then, hard to believe, but Jubilee Day is only a few months away, and I know in a post meeting last year, the mayor said that he wanted the first meeting to be in February, and we are 15 days away. So we'll start having those conversations as we head into the end of this month and beginning of next month to start planning for that. And then I do have a discussion item on the agenda here coming up after Lieutenant Curtis.
Thank you, sir. Any comments, questions, or thoughts for EMC Wardle? Lieutenant, welcome. Do we have to salute now?
No. So I prepared a PowerPoint on the UPI National Academy, which I was honored to attend. Thank you for giving the permission to go down there and be down there for 11 weeks already. The time commitment, not only work-wise, but time commitment for family-wise, but I think in 2 weekends when the holidays are high school, and really one week. On top of me being away, you pick up stuff at home and make stuff to hold with you to kind of get through as well. So to kind of explain to you what the National Academy is, it's also internationally known. We have done it 11 weeks, we leave 11 weeks this time around with the holiday. Usually we also have an average about 20 years old with them on. In our academy session, there's 193 of us, and 24 of them are international. To qualify for a National Academy, you have to be involved in executive level positions. And the Academy started in 1935. So
So at that point in time, the FBI director who was in at that time wanted to start an academy for municipal and city police officers on top of the actual FBI officers themselves. So it's actually a dual thing. We're down there at the same time. They have a bit of agents and training. So the FBI training going on as well as the National Academy that brings in staying in two different dorms, but they all kind of spend a lot of time in facilities. 288 trucks, as I said, 198 is 45 states, the District of Columbia, and 24 countries, plus 4 military organizations, so the entry financial service, and then 6 federal civilian organizations. It's a competitive process. I actually applied for it in 2018. It took me 5 years to get the nod to get in. What you do is you apply through the base of where you are at when it comes to the FBI. So I had to go to the Philadelphia office. The Philadelphia office gets 4 nominations for every single session, so then 4 sessions out of the year. So between the 4 nominations, the bottom portion of New Jersey is included in that area. They get an automatic nomination. Country and state police get an automatic nomination, and the city of Philadelphia. So that leaves 1 nomination for the rest of New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and the entirety of Pennsylvania on the east side to get into that. So it's very competitive. It's been something I've been working for, including the application process. I was looking at promoted to lieutenant, and then doing time commitment, and then on to head back to something like that. And then the stuff that I've done here, and do get that kind of give you a bump up on some of the other people. There's literally thousands of you wanting to get into it. We just do this. I'm probably 1%, but I want to get in the entire year to get an opportunity to do it. This is obviously the entrance into the FBI National Academy itself. Here's the reading room. The books that you see there are books that are in personal collection. They're found in this room, which is just off the library, and it has the most comfortable couch in the entire space. So I would try to get in there and get in the reading room and please take some access. The tree you see there, Hurricane Aggie and Love It, is a tree really found from land. That is actually was filmed on a property up here in Toronto. It's kind of a famous tree that's in there that kind of puts out the physical fitness facility. And what their plan is that when you're doing your physical fitness stuff and you're down there as far as the FBI agent, the first round you're gonna hurt a little bit. The second round you're gonna have a little bit of pain. By the third round you're definitely gonna be kind of adding it, and then everything is to love it. So that's kind of the physical fitness aspect of it. Each of us were broken into 5 sections, and they were labeled by letter. So it's A through E, which is the section I was trying to do section 2. This was my roomie, Moses with Visa, Guzman. That's kind of throw over that. He's from Nigeria. So I applied to be part of the International Partnership Program. Moses was outstanding. He's an awesome fellow. From Nigeria, born and raised. He's got some family in the United States. He's only been in the United States 2 times before that. He was amazed at the roads. He was all big back home with the dirt. And he was upset about getting a haircut for $26. For $26, he could see his parents for 3 days with return fishing in American Maya in Nigeria. Moses is the top, he's the 3rd in command of the internet fraud and crime set. So he definitely keeps himself busy there in Nigeria. He's actually involved in, was mentioned by me, by the FBI director Christopher Ray at our graduation. He's involved in, if you've heard about station sports, or the post 15, he's involved in basically trying to get him ousted by people who snap back to take some pictures of himself in pre-exposing situations, and then he basically got ousted, and they basically built him for thousands of dollars, and eventually they kept on and release all these pictures to friends and family, and he ended up killing himself. Moses was able to transfer them back to Nigeria, and actually they were able to bring them back over to Washington, D.C., and to them up to Nigeria, and against federal crime. These are instructors that I had there. Top right is Freddie Ramsey. I talked a little bit about her, Kevin Tremento. On the bottom left there, he was the physical fitness instructor. He's actually in his 50s. He's been involved in 100 National Academy classes. He looks like he's very young. And Cynthia Lewis there in the middle, did public speaking stuff, and then Javier Vizan there on the right. This was, of course, the 1 class that we did. That's Dale Pendocker, another instructor who's down there. Dale Pendocker was involved with the seminar on managing law enforcement. That's up to about her as well. There to the right, that was a video unit guy. The guy who did all that Steve Common as an instructor. It was a good size for one thing, so we got to usually the class I took all master level classes. They were basically bachelor level, master level classes. I don't want to think usually maybe take one last master level class and let's say minutes and First one's leading out risk and complete for executives, kind of gives you basically an idea what that is. We talked a little bit of a lot about officer wellness in this class. That's Tony Ramsey's class is involved with the Ohio State Police that we hired there as a lieutenant. Part of the science is reading alcohol anonymous book, reading high level cop book, they attend an AA meeting, and then also provide resource lists to where our officers could kind of go for anything that they need to go for that. You got to do a certain presentation on life experience. And each person had to write that paper and then provide that life experience in class as a basically an at-risk person. I think myself at that point in time, after going through some things that I've gone through the year before, I definitely one of the at-risk employees to be able to kind of find back that fear and motivation from there. I found this class that we were definitely on the upswing. We go to where we're at with our officer wellness and what we provide for officers in our agencies and also in the next class is psychology of leadership. This we look at psychological perspective of leading people. We did a leadership article analysis. The group project is basically picking a leader and comparing a leadership style to the various leaderships that we had. The group shows the way that we went at that point in time. There's a paper on the San Diego prison experiment. San Diego prison experiment, if you're not familiar with what that is, it's like a logical thing there, you're not in your head. And they took some people some years ago out in Santa Clara, and they basically made them some prisoners, and some were actual guards of the prison. And they basically told them not really what they had to do, what they didn't have to do, but it really came down to the prisoners started to get independent provided against the guards, and the guards basically were doing things and doing bad things. It just kind of showed a lot of things on how leadership, if you start to let that one bad egg really kind of turn everything that it kind of went into. The experiment really got a lot of bad press afterwards, and there's a lot of stuff that they had to end it kind of early. Man's Search for Meaning, you have the opportunity to read that book. It's an book, we read that book and kind of went down through it. And then we went to the Holocaust Museum. Man's Search for Meaning is an individual who was captured and spent many years in the Nazi camp as a prisoner. He was a psychologist, and then he faced his experiences and what he did through that. He wrote this book about his experiences and how he actually helped people through there to either stay alive or actually basically save them down and kind of put them in a place prior to that. We took that book and then compared it to a visit to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. We went down there, and then we ran an opportunity to Sandy, that was not. Those are the Crucible events. It's basically an event that we had gotten into within our world, basically very early on, all within law enforcement, and how that event made us believe that we are in the beginning of that. Advanced public speaking, did a lot of speeches in this class, a lot of impromptu leadership quote speech, which I usually approach and anything not to kind of picked up today, but you kind of don't do impromptu speech. They basically say, let's just talk about something. And dealing with people kind of worldwide, not only the things for the world, but kind of understand how the parents for the city, what kind of history, especially in the city, what kind of things, and actually in fact, it's kind of the knowledge base and interaction. For persuasive speech, I talked about allowing two officers to speak at work, kind of moving towards the idea of quick work, as well as 12 hours of ceremonial speech is a speech that is basically just pick any type of ceremony you wanted to do. And most of our speech started recording and then sent back to the work that I did and what I could do with that. The last thing we do is a group presentation with a podcast. We'll talk a little bit more about podcast afterwards. You actually put a podcast there, kind of how real simple it is, and a lot of information that you get out there easy to Center our managing law enforcement image. This was put on by Bill Penrocker, who is a new person in the Virginia area for many years. He's award-winning. He's won for many awards outside of here, Iraq, Afghanistan, that kind of stuff to do. Coming for interviewing and such. She's won many awards. And she decided to go back to law enforcement. And what she does is basically act as a new person and kind of actually start off questions. The other individual is involved with that. He's a PIO for the United States Marine Corps for a number of years, and also PIO for the federal investigation for a number of years out of DC. So they basically kind of went through and really looked at how we can manage our image in law enforcement through the media, through out in District 6, use a place to teach, but they put a full right down up in District 6 to what I miss out on this and what I just, we didn't actually need to interview, they gave us a place kind of a situation, if we got 5 minutes, and then we were going to present to that, to the statement, and then answer the question. The news conference questions they came up with, the scenario that they had come up with was very difficult. We had a couple questions as to what the news might want to know about that, but not make them easy questions, not really prepared at the time. Never really that news. Advanced Behavioral Science Law Enforcement Leaders, Steve Conley, I mentioned him before. He's involved with the behavioral analysis unit with the FBI. He's interviewed personally multiple serial killers and offenders and murderers throughout the years, and he's done a lot of work with serial offenders through the FBI. And we basically kind of talked about defending the regards to that. This is probably the class that I did most of those papers in regards to answering a lot of the questions, providing us serial offender overviews that we found it. There's many different things to do that database, research on developing the Borough. There's like illegal behavior, there's safety within the Borough, sexual assault that I investigated. Describe the situation of sexual behavior of individual in terms of course of action, the robbery cases that gentlemen in the Borough, which is kind of basically a lot of ins and outs that kind of went through. You think you know what you got going on, but in reality, it's kind of really looking into it. And then case study and presentation. That we did, and that was a PowerPoint kind of look into it. It was a homicide that occurred in Harrisburg City, but it actually bled over to the transfer of that investigation, and it led to my actually recovering the murder weapon and being able to wellness and fitness in law enforcement. There's a lot of challenges there, as you can see. We do a lot of things in the gym 2 weeks, 2 times a week, sometimes 3. And then outside on Wednesdays, we do challenges, depression, balancing, and stuff. They're all basically things that all culminated into the Yellow Brick Road. The Yellow Brick Road is kind of infamous, and it's an obstacle course, and we're moving for basic Plaza. It's kind of the front of the term, the best is like we're down in the National Academy, and the other is the It's a 6.1-mile obstacle course. One of the challenges we actually gone to room for stadium, Butler Stadium, and trained with the Wounded Warrior Regiment. We have Wounded Warriors from multiple disciplines, Marine Corps, Army, Navy, Air Force, and it's definitely one of the things you kind of look at it and see somebody decide to doing the same exercise as you are using athletic as you learn and basically not complaining and doing the job for service. This was the section that we had to take the fitness and section. This is Greg Sterling. Greg Sterling is from Indiana. He broke the mile record. He was escaped for 88 weeks within the academy. He was mile and 30 seconds. He's fast. He's a runner. I was close to him, but about 2 minutes.
Still faster than some of those new police officers.
You only have to be fast and slow for This is a culmination of the Yellow Brick itself. You can see there on the left and holding the Yellow Brick. That's the big one that you do that portion of the ring that bell. There's some gals there from Virginia. Both of them through the front of and you guys kind of basically take the fitness side of it. And the gentleman there on the right hand side, that's Brian James. He's from Los Angeles Police Department. It's happened. And see Los Angeles, and we ran the entire 16. We do a lot of weekend trips. Took the international teams down to Baltimore for Baltimore Orioles games. 3 of them have never seen baseball ever. So one of the things that we did went to Washington Catholic game, one evening at the top left corner, the bottom left. That was not an actual picture of that unit. That was a Gettysburg. So because of the fact that a lot of people are law enforcement duties, I several bus trips up to Gettysburg on the one Saturday. That was 4 bus rides, about I want to say 56 of us picking up and 4 battlefield. Then went down to Gettysburg, got 54 things down there, and then did a base during the evening. On the right there, the fire, one of the guys who is kind of close by, we have a back there on sometimes the weekend and like. Went to New York City. You have to see the city in a different light. Some of the stuff that they have is the forces and radiation, rockets, planes, all kinds of different deals. This is Chief Tobin. So she was the deputy chief, highest ranking officer at New York City Police Department that day because we were there for the luncheon and kind of a meet and greet. And I walked over to her, just kind of talked to her a little bit. She's on the job 20 plus years, and got a picture with her. I got this picture with her. After we left, I found out that Chief Tobin, when she was in 20 years, was at September 11th on the day when the first planes hit. The two planes hit the tower. She started running towards the towers. And the deputy commissioner, Joe Dunn, advised Chief Tobin, she was not chief at the time, she was a different rank, that better put a ballistic helmet on. As she was going up, when the tower started to fell, she was trying to help people out, and she got pelted with some debris from the top of the south tower. She was hit with debris, a piece of cement and rebar, and the building went through her ballistic helmet that she had put on, split it in half and got embedded in her skull. She also broke her ankle and had glass embedded in her back. Rather than basically lie down and not do anything more, she forward, and really left and more people out before the next tower started to come down. She eventually tried to run towards the Hudson River to jump in, but she went unconscious and died from safety. She was awarded the highest medal value you can get in this police department. She's the highest ranking official and the only female that's ever received the award in September 11th. And she and I thought that we were just like friends at Common Hall. Every day on September 11th, every single year, he called the deputy commissioner to put that item on the content. This is the pipe and use the country name and the name of the building. That's not fair enough. You're good. Times Square, I also got an opportunity down Times Square. You can see events on the first shop in the world, maybe it's pretty precinct and that. This was, we got to go to One Piece Plaza. So they're going to do that, that's One Piece. While we're in One Piece Plaza, it's interesting to know that we got actually some deals to a center, so they do have a festival of families. We had a lot of anti-Palestinian protests and anti-Jewish protests going on. We got to see them kind of listen. We set a wreath at the World Trade Center where the towers went down. Top right corner there is the new building. They have up there one big tower, and then the tower starting to get the stadium put up. You can see the scroll on the side of the ready. This is a harbor tour we took on a boat. Another weekend trip we went down to the city of Philadelphia. That's on the Rocky Steps. It's class. They went down and up the Rocky Steps. And that's the same like statue. There's two statues you see there in the center. The one to the right is the one that recently we have collected in Cape Town. So when we ran the art museum step where Rocky ran many years ago, and we took him. This young gentleman was here with his family, and he went out the steps with us, and we came back down and started talking to the family and found out that he was one of the police officers after the raid, so they didn't get a selfie with me in the store. Everybody else kind of started getting selfies. We went back and got them coins and patches. We did up I think it was like 75 coins and patches. The biggest store of Lincoln Financial Field, and we see it in This picture in Washington, D.C., got to go to the Capitol and we kind of go behind the scenes for there. There's two pictures of the Christmas tree monument, actually taken from the outside verandas and patios of the Capitol itself. You can see there the column on the left-hand side, that's the President and Johnson is coming to do inauguration. And we got into a Lincoln room. A big fit, it's really about that picture. When I went into this room, the American flag is actually on the right. So this is bad. That's like a fit. People are saying, you shouldn't do that. Here's some pictures we took at night when we were down into D.C. This gentleman here was a piper, and he went down and did a ceremony at the law enforcement memorial. He was actually in our class. He came to Illinois to do the pipes. International night was basically the teams were international teams to basically wear their regalia and kind of bring in food from their various countries and stuff. More on the right is, Marina Moses there. I tried getting the area out there. I still haven't smelled my green tea before. There's a lot of people from all over the world here. You have people from New York City, California, Michigan, Somalia, Minnesota, Okinawa, Japan, and the bottom right. The Marine Corps, we take that for 3 years. It's just first trip out to America in 3 years. We have Indonesian. The guy on the left is Woody Hawkins. He's a tribal police officer in the Dakotas. He's actually descendant of the Dakota Nation. He ended up being our top student. The guy on the right is really, he beat me out from the nominated and lost. It was an honor. We got some people that his family and his grandfathers were arrested and taken in custody during the Indian Wars against the United States. And taken from the United States. The guy on the right there, the guy in the middle, is Ernest Ransom. He's Philadelphia police officer. He's the detective in charge of all of the homicide squad in Philadelphia. And then that's the unit for Alaska, Alaska. He's got that out of Alaska that we need to while I was down there on the left, I went to get a haircut off base and looked at it was a robbery. And I took pictures of them going in. I saw Tracy doing going in. You're not allowed to bring weapons onto the base. They kind of firearm at that time, so I became a good witness. Took pictures of them, chased down, and went to the police. They actually burned it inside the city. On the right there is Irish politics there, and that's the guy who's done it. He actually went from Ireland. He used that rocket launcher, so he's going to send it back to Ireland, and he's going to use it from. This was graduation day. Top left there, my beautiful parents. On the bottom left is the entire family was down. We only allowed to have 4 tickets per person, and we celebrated my wife and my wife. This is the entire family. This is why I come into the prison. Those 11 weeks we were down there were outstanding times for me. I did everything there was good. I got to really do some outstanding things in education, in connection, and I'll definitely be able to keep it and things like that. So they're going to keep learning about that too. So, one of the things I started basically came down on multiple things is 414 podcast, so they will push that out. We did 2 different things, push that to Lynn Thompson. Based on analytics, we really had over 100 studies already on that. I was able to push that podcast out free of charge to hopefully play Spotify and up to anything. I provided the farm free access statement across the borough, nothing you guys see what we're doing on that end. I was able to put that podcast out to Amazon, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, and other podcasts like Spotify, iHeartRadio, and we had all kinds of different ones. So we're kind of hoping to kind of push that out and really kind of get some narratives out there. Again, I was going to put up this week for this office and people through the answer coalition from coming time. I think it's really good. That's all the pictures that I have. Other opportunities I got to do is when we were in the city of Philadelphia, I got an opportunity to go down into the Kensington area. We were in the Kensington, or anything about Kensington, probably down the popular. It was really bad opioid and homelessness there. There's a lot of open air drug markets, open air drug abuse. We toured that with Inspector Javier Rodriguez, who was the commander at one time of the 25th precinct. Captain Pedro Rosario, who is the chief detective currently, was previously commander of the 24th precinct. And Councilwoman Yesty Rosada, who's the District 7 council person in the city of Philadelphia. There was a small group of us, about 15. They were able to tour the area and have active conversations with them about how they combating drug use, how they combating the opioid problem. They're going to be able to do it homelessness down in the city of Philadelphia. We had a lot of good conversations about that. Because of that connection, I ended up being picked to be on a committee for homelessness. And that committee is going to set up training for municipal police officers. Next year will be a week, and then in 2025, the municipal police officers will try to take that training for their continued certification. As part of that program, it's going to actually learn about that, how do you do that, how do you make things about it, that kind of stuff. Actually take that step back down and do it. So you can kind of open up your conversation and see what you can do about that. On top of all the other things that were going on there, we were able to earn the bricks, obviously the yellow brick, only the Rome trip, we had to go 34 miles and the bicycle trip is 288 miles bicycling. A lot of the things I've been finding is also on programs that we have in place in 2020 that they really have a further go to. I was able to share the things that I've been doing for the prison, food and physical counseling and the kind of fitness program, and kind of spearheaded and kind of saying, okay, these are the things that you need to do. As part of that, my brother has worked for another agency, has gotten his social work license, and working for 3 police with trauma and police specialists, and they're actually working with first responders as well. He also has actually decided on this campaign to do a second aspect. But he's also going to be working with them and just kind of having these conversations with people, say, hey, I know people that can do this kind of stuff, and it's going to be one of the things that have any advantage of having that kind of stuff. It's phenomenal with regards to trauma and use. I earned a graduate certificate from the University of Virginia on it. All credits are adopted in application for the University of Virginia. And I picked up on Thursday, continuing that at the University of Virginia. A little bit about thought. I'm totally an international economy person, and then also through sections. Phenomenal program. There's only a few, probably about 5 or 6 in the area of national academy graduates, and already since coming out and trying to have conversations, letting know something like that, and putting days, kind of in the back of the program. So I wanted to show you what's down there. We have these small guys and all that back. So I really like 20 stations and doing stuff on the weekends as well. It's kind of like, oh, these stuff really kind of there's a lot of heavy business. You should keep on your go and all you have to kind of pick up on that. Because the work and you do kind of solve some things. So a lot of sacrifices for you to do that. I don't think you.
Another question, but just a comment. I'm super excited about the things that you've learned because as a social worker, just hearing that, I think that you're going to be able to teach some of the officers so much stuff. I love the homelessness project. If any of you guys have been to Kensington or have watched it, it is really awful. I have a friend who's actually he does doors to keep the homeless out of the buildings that are abandoned. So he paints them to keep them out. But he sees a lot of people just zombieing out there. So it's appreciated. And I think that even though we don't have that sort of problem, we do have a problem with homelessness here. So I'm excited to invite you to our affordable housing stuff because I think that your insight to that will be really important because as we are looking for properties for affordable housing, one of the #1 barriers is that no one wants that next to them. But if you don't have that next to them, you have a homeless population. And I know that there's a lot of hidden homelessness in Mechanicsburg. So
absolutely, yeah. And I mean, it's just exciting that from there with the stuff that I've already been starting to talk about and some of the issues that we've heard already. Unfortunately, it's not getting better.
It's going to get worse because it's rentals are up and housing is just unaffordable. So I appreciate that, and I'm so excited. Congratulations. We're proud of you, and we're proud of you too.
Thank you.
That was phenomenal. We should do that every single council meeting.
But you can't go away for another 11 weeks.
Congratulations to you too.
Yes.
My goodness, and your second master's degree. Anybody have any comments, questions? That was pretty comprehensive.
Great work with the PowerPoints. Next time I do one, I'll call you.
Yeah.
I listened to the podcast too. It's good.
So we have some discussion next on a deputy EMC. I assume EMC, what would you like to?
Sure. So an individual from within the borough reached out to Cumberland County Department of Public Safety. This individual works as a first responder at one of the federal agencies nearby and had asked about going through some of the training that is available through FEMA. The county said, yes, you can do that, no problem, but you're going to have sign off from somebody within your local municipality and probably wind up being the emergency management coordinator. So he got in touch with me, and I said, I have no problem signing up, but if there is an interest in starting a deputy emergency management coordinator position, would you be interested? Obviously, as you all know, our new borough manager has a few more expectations for this role than our previous borough manager, and sometimes my time can be somewhat limited. And so I thought that this might be a way to assist in this role and that we can accomplish more in the emergency management, emergency preparedness realm. This discussion and the potential of adding this position is not for a particular individual, and there would need to be conversations about what that would look like for the person who had reached out to me moving forward. But this is about whether council sees a value in having a deputy emergency management coordinator for the borough.
So before we open the floor up, perhaps you could highlight what the benefits and what the cost would be in doing this with that.
Sure. So costs would be up to council. I mean, my position does receive a salary, which is greatly appreciated for it. A deputy position could be somebody who's a volunteer, or it could be something that you can throw a little bit of money towards. That would be a council and a financial decision. However, the role, when we look at how we would staff a emergency operations center in the case of a large emergency in the borough, Chief Myers is occupied doing police things, Chief Neff is occupied doing fire things, and that leaves me, as long as I am available and it is not an incident that would require me to be activated for a department operation. So ideally I am able to be in the EOC, but we have very little depth. That's been clear through our exercises. And so having a deputy emergency management coordinator, of course, if this individual has ties to other local agencies, may not necessarily be somebody who could fill in the EOC, but the goal of having a deputy would eventually be to be that support in the EOC to handle additional tasks. If the borough manager is out working with all of the staff, it may be a liaison officer role, liaison to all of the borough staff for the incident commander, for the emergency coordinator who is running the operations center. It's really about thinking about how we staff in an emergency and how we fill the roles that would need to be staffed. Under typical incident command structure, you have an incident commander, which would probably be one of the two chiefs, and then you have in the command staff, you have a liaison officer, a legal officer, a public information officer. I think we know how we can cover all of that, but then below that, you have 5 different sections. You have a planning section, a finance and admin section, you have an operations section, you have a tactical section, and a number of other areas. Some of those, I think, again, we would cover whether with the fire department or police department, depending on what the incident is. But at the same time, some of those other ones, as far as who's doing all the planning, that usually falls back to my role as the emergency management coordinator. And I do envision, if we ever have a scenario, that there would be more than I could probably do in my role. And so who fills in those gaps? And I really don't have the answer to that right now. The easiest way would probably be reaching out to other municipal coordinators, but obviously they're not going to be familiar with Mechanicsburg. And if I'm being 100% honest, most of the other municipal coordinators are not quite as active in their municipality as I am. So there'd be a select few, East Pennsboro, Silver Spring, North Middleton, that I'd probably be able to reach out to and ask for assistance. And of course, this is if something's on a local scale. If it's more of a regional incident, then the bench really empties out pretty quickly.
So, Council, before we go too, thank you very much. Before we go too far down the discussion path, I guess the question is, does Council feel that they need more information about a potential deputy? And also what resources would be available to us at at a county level, a municipal level, a county level, and a state level. To me, this question seems comprehensive in nature and might be better to do in small group and then bring back to council for a deeper, more specific conversation rather than very high level. Does anybody have any comments?
So I would like to comment. We sat through a dinner last night with the head of the state police talking about emergency response. And that's always a little bit of my concern, being a small municipality. What resources do we have readily available and our resources to do it? So I think that maybe a little think tank group to discuss this, a job description to it, because when there's an incident, I imagine that because we're in the middle of so many other municipalities, it's not just going to be Mechanicsburg. It's going to be, across them. So I would be very interested in getting a little bit more detail and seeing how volunteer versus another stipend or paid position would benefit us, because we're always, something could happen at any time, and I don't want to be unprepared for that. And watching it, I don't know, was pretty graphic last night. I think that we should probably at least get some more information on this.
Councilman Bjork, would you like to work together with the chair of the personnel committee and EMC Wardle to come up with a job description and maybe a recommendation?
I think that would be a good course of action. Councilman O'Neill, you had.
I just want to know, yes, I think it's a good idea. But I also wanted to know, is there a precedent for this in any other municipality in the area?
There are a number of other municipalities in Cumberland County that have a deputy EMC. Silver Spring has a deputy EMC. I believe Upper Allen may have a deputy EMC. I know East Pennsboro has a number of deputies.
So it seems like a good idea.
Sounds like as a borough, we would be lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
So what we can do is take this out of committee and into a small work session and get some more information, ask some questions if you're willing to sit with us, and then we'll come back to council. Thank you very much. You're always incredibly efficient and informative. One of that they all work there. That concludes our committee report. Thank you.
Thank you. Municipal and Community Outreach, Councilman Bivett.
Yeah, we'll get started here with our library liaison report, which I think is taken right now. So we will hopefully get some information from them soon. Yep. And then the school board liaison report, Councilman Anthony.
Yeah, school board met January 9th. The January meeting is their annual board member appreciation. So they spent some time on that. I did not know this fact. Apparently in 1834, Pennsylvania was the first government to establish free education for youth as a policy. Didn't know that. First government on earth, apparently, according to Dr. Leidy. So, and then they did there was a great presentation by Executive Director Justin Bruin of what was formerly the VOTEC, now has a name that long. Great organization. Our numbers are up there, meaning that we have more kids from the district participating, but always looking for more. And then their regular agendas. Good meeting.
I have a follow-up question. It's not meant to be funded. Was it free or was it tax dollars that funded education? I'm just curious.
Well, the Pennsylvania Constitution does say education would be fully funded through the state, so it was probably always tax dollars. Yeah.
So it wasn't really free.
Yeah, just curious. You can talk to Dr. Leidy about it.
I'm not interested.
I believe it was called the Free Public School.
Well, I was.
So they do have a message thing back then.
Yeah.
Pretty progressive.
That's all I have.
All right, that's the end of the meeting.
Community and Economic Development, Councilwoman Agarty.
All right, well, I'll turn it over to Councilman Anthony for a loan review board report.
No report.
Easy enough. And there's no planning commission report, and the meeting was canceled for the 22nd. Moving on to the HARB liaison report, we did have a restructuring that occurred at our last meeting last Monday. And Eric Berry is now the president and Tim Dwyer is the vice president. We also had something on the agenda tonight for a porch replacement. And I'd like to report that it is amazing to see people coming to the HARB to ask for things in advance and really caring and wanting to preserve their historic property. So I think they're doing some good work there. And Downtown Partnership Liaison Report, I'm going to go ahead and ask Ms. York to come up and do her report. Thank you for doing this. We appreciate it.
You have a copy of my report. Tomorrow at noon, we have a site visit at the City Lounge 611, which is in railroad track at the three buildings, one circle, between the beach resident and North Railroad Avenue. We will be at the February meeting with a request related to a back door, a expensive back door that will lead customers to have both seating in this area and financing. Then if you can, we back to site visit tomorrow. Revolutionary Hot Sauce Eatery and Brew Hub, Brewery, downtown. They had their sign up that was approved and provided for through an adult based grant. These types of small things very important. It's like much smaller than usual. Not that I'm having difficulty, but I just want to make sure.
We have glasses.
Zoom is a wonderful thing.
We're not afraid to use them.
I'm at 120% on the laptop. So.
Okay. Peter has changed their hours again for the winter. They will be closed on Monday. Richard Hanna, who owns the business, he bought the business, also because he told us everything in the business. He's going to leave his home as they are there, and I said it will. He's there. Joe and Joe will be opening in the plaza along West Simpson Street across from Simpson Street across from CVS. So we'll have tea, restaurant and lounge, the Rolo Smoke Place, and then Joe and Joe, I'm assisting Brad with finding a bagel provider. This is just the bagel baker provider and coffee. We have a couple of weeks. Here this Saturday, and I have another one in the morning to be talking with Totem Pole Winery closed December 30th. Served that up to a couple of folks as well. Maybe interested in relocating the business there and expanding with the second location. After that business has been closed for quite a while, to close an auction during a few weeks to interface. And the first floor, the report will be going to the grandson. The building will be going to the grandson and he plans some sort of a very small, very intimate eatery in that location. It would be nice to get that building back into use. I'm going to be reading a good health and good health as we personally represent the owners of the Urban Manor apartments. All things concerned, we know that's a lot of room to buy that and so. So for the time being, I'm looking at the landscaping and opening that up so that you can actually see the building and perhaps putting that huge yard up the trees in the video to use for maybe events, concerts, some movies outdoors, some of the stores that kind of the hedges are very high. They were trimmed last year for the first time in a long time, but I think that pleasure is even realized by more people. Under grants, we know that the CBD round is open and over a couple other applications from entities within the Borough. That deadline is March 1st, so that's funded just from the loan program to the funding and a lot of other things that we realize, including the park, and a couple things that I don't have in the report. I am working with an existing business that is in another part of the sector. I plan to go looking to relocate. So we have 32 or 35 left Main Street. So that's what we're building with the catering business there, looking for building Gallery Street, because the own West Gallery in Market Street, and information on much talked about building that the beginning of this year is really some restaurants, so it doesn't go on the market, maybe talk to some people about their interest in it, but it's a property that a lot of people have asked about it. That's what I have. Maybe hearing, maybe hearing.
You plan to stay with totem pole, but you're served it up with something different.
Just comes naturally, right?
I had a whole referendum in Des Moines years ago, and all this is. That's it. Anything for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about Downtown Partnership as we continue to grow. We are talking about relocating our meetings because we just have so many new members, which is awesome. We did have some guests this last time. We had Revolutionary Hot Sauce come down. I do have bad news though. Cha Cha Chocolate will not be happening this year, but we're refocusing our events to make them bigger and better and a little bit jazzier. So stay tuned for all of that stuff. And I want to thank everyone for coming down to the Renaissance Project meeting, and I think that it went really well, and thank you to the borough manager for fielding lots of questions. I think you handled it with the best professionalism and great discussion, so thank you very much for all of that.
I have one quick comment on that. So I heard lots of good comments, but I would just offer one small caution, and that was that something that kind of hit home with us. Apparently during the event, someone stated that a particular business had a large number of parking spaces and that business's parking could be used at any time without any issue or without even asking. And it was not corrected by the people that are sitting in this room or the people at the partnership. And I think that's something we have to be very mindful of, because we do want to build coalitions and we do want to get private businesses and individuals to offer their space, which I think is very doable, as we've spoken before, Mr. Manager. But that is not the right way to do that. And I know we all agree on that.
Mm-hmm. I would say that that person said it with such authority that I actually was flabbergasted that space was offered. So I didn't understand what was happening. So I apologize that it was not questioned. But I do believe hashtag there's a parking space in Mechanicsburg needs to go viral, because I drive up and down the streets very often. I do not have a problem with parking. One of the things that did come out of that conversation, Lane, you probably said it, that in a half a mile radius, we have 370 actual free parking spaces, and we need to take advantage of those. And if people want to go to businesses, they're going to be willing to walk more than a block. People often think of Mechanicsburg and being able to park in front of the business and not have to walk. But I think that we have some really great businesses and we need to encourage people to think differently. The other thing that I think that was not impressed upon people is that we have free parking. If you go to Carlisle, you go to Harrisburg, you have to pay to park. So I think that we need to focus that. So hashtag free parking space, let's make it go viral and have people really look at that, because there are a lot of spaces that do not encroach on private businesses, because I agree, we should not be encouraging people to park where they do not belong. That would be a whole other problem.
And I think the signage that is hopefully still on the plan will do that well. We need to make sure we get it on the websites and our social media, but I appreciate it.
Yeah. And maybe we can somehow find a way to publicly correct that with
Let me be clear too. It's not my parking, so
Yes, I'm aware, but I believe that what we don't want to do is have association through other people saying that maybe there was like this gentleman's agreement. But I think maybe we could work on some messaging about where actually is free.
That
I will
comment,
say that the comment was, I'd say, so incorrect that people didn't believe it.
well, I know that there was someone who voiced that, but it made social media within 24 hours. And it was businesses saying that the parking was open for use at all times.
Wow.
Businesses in the downtown. So addressing that when it's said, I think it's just important because I don't know of a private owner of parking that would appreciate that without a little more specificity. But I know a lot of owners of parking and managers of parking who would welcome the borough businesses, customers using their parking.
We will address that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you for bringing it up.
Another good outcome of that was refocusing on the priority of how our parking lot looks and is kept and is maintained, and making that a space where people want to park and not, scary, overgrown.
I'm still waiting on my green signs.
Yeah, and signage, absolutely.
And again, I thank the borough manager for taking all of these comments and making our dreams come true.
Wow. What a great place to live.
That's on the record.
Shouldn't say in a month.
And that's the end of my report, unless anyone else has anything.
It was mentioned that there was a parking plan, or there was like a signage study done by the Turpin Evans.
The borough manager mentioned what was it? Was it a survey or?
No, actually, I think it was Mr. Evans,
Mr. Evans
who brought up that Clerk and Edson had done an assessment of parking several years ago, and I'm in the process of following up to figure out what that says and where it is.
We do have a lot of parking. I think it's the walk issue. I mean, people want to park directly in front of some place. If you have an event that has 70 people at it, they're gonna walk. So
yes.
I went to an event at Shannon's. What's the address, Rebecca? One. So she had quite a few people, and it was amazing to watch people walk. And they walked because they were happy to come to the event. And I think that's one of those things. And she was very specific for her event where people could park, and that was really helpful. So signage does go a long way, directions go a long way, and just communicating to people. I have hosted a couple of events downtown and have never heard from anyone that they could not get there. So I think it's definitely messaging, and we just need to keep working on it.
I mean, I think we produced some really good looking professional, or the partnership did, some really professional tools for the businesses to distribute to their customers. And it's all the same. It's the same parking map, whether it's electronic and interactive or not. And it has the same areas highlighted, and it has their business perhaps highlighted. That could be the one variable.
I wonder if that could be part of the app that not app thing that we're working on. Parking guide.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure Luke can make that happen too.
No, yes.
No.
That's the end of my report again. There's other things.
Did you actually say that before? Second note.
Property, Parks, and Recreation, Councilwoman what?
I do not have any report from the Rec Board, Shade Tree Commission, and EAC, Ms. Adgerton.
Okay, we'll just combine those. There was not a quorum for Shade Tree, but I do know that they continue having wonderful plans to continue planting trees in Mechanicsburg, and they have quite a few opportunities coming up to fulfill their goal of 500 trees. And then for EAC, we did meet and talk a lot about different education programs that they would like to invest in and to be able to take to the public, recycling, waste stuff, packaging. So they are just full of really great ideas and a lot of enthusiasm. Very impressed with those, and I'm excited to be part of that, and I will continue to bring on more information to everyone. So they'll have, I think, stuff in our newsletter, which the deadline is 3 days and a couple of hours. I'll remind them of that.
And then we do have one item agenda for discussion on establishing a recreation and events subcommittee from the Property Parks and Recreation Committee. Mr. Manager, do you have words about that?
Thank you, ma'am. I spent the last couple of months working with the remaining members of the rec board on overcoming the current challenge, the challenge of overlaps and scope, and since we kind of have a much more comprehensive approach for managing the pool with the school district and managing the parks between us and the district and the council. Really, the rec board was kind of struggling for mission and identity, and working with the two remaining members kind of informally over the last couple of months, we've come up with kind of a new approach that we're going to recommend. I have an information paper that I put together that I'll be sending to council, and really what it does is kind of propose a new mission that's really based on event volunteerism and event planning and execution in the borough, and it's what we think fills the gap between downtown partnership, the school district, and a couple of other community organizations regarding events that are put on in the borough. So I'll be providing that to you. I actually have it, and I apologize, but it didn't make it into the packet this meeting. But when we do, then I'm happy to take questions. I'd like you to read it first so you can see what the approach is, and then hopefully we can move forward from there.
Awesome. Thanks for doing that and working to figure out next steps for the rec board, because they were struggling. So thank you for that.
The other outcome, I think, is just a kind of a nod from council as to whether or not we can insert this into the operations and procedures policy that outlines the standing committees of council, so that committee would fall under the property parks and recreation. So if council's okay with that, we will draft that language and have it available for the next. Yeah.
I have a question. So are we talking about events that only happen in the parks, or are we talking about events that happen within the borough?
That's within the borough.
It's in recreation.
Yeah.
Trauma park.
Yeah, we have no shortage of volunteers wanting to put together events, and really this, we've kind of set the stage with some new events with the work we've done over at Think and Binder, and then in Memorial and with the pool, we want to start doing a little bit more event planning and delivery in those parks. But really, the goal here is to create standard approach for how events are planned and organized and delivered within the borough, so that when a volunteer comes to the borough and says, I'd like to volunteer to lead an event, we can give them a process to follow with contacts of other volunteers plus vendors and then requirements that we have as far as event organization goes. So that way they don't have to spend so much time reinventing the planning wheel. They can just get to the creative part where they're envisioning an event and then putting it on.
Will we be standardizing the request to council for, yes, and will we be creating a common community event calendar?
The goal here is that between the school district, the downtown partnership, the Chamber of Commerce, and the borough, that we can get on a single integrated events calendar that also not just deconflicts dates, but also kind of deconflicts the demographics, so that we know we're hitting all the right demographics for the borough and not missing anyone.
And that would include things like the rent crop. It would include the requirement chicken barbecues, yes or no?
It would include everything that we can possibly find, and really, kind of the goal here is to make sure that we're also providing a little bit more performance measures on events, so that we understand how well attended they are, what the demographic is that's attending them, so that we can figure out how to structure and restructure as we move forward.
Yeah, I think this is excellent. It was discussed many years ago at the Downtown Casper Partnership. Council Anthony will remember that. We were voting together at that time. And I think it's going to be successful given the leadership of Borough, or the Borough Council and the Borough staff, really. And the very good Borough staff we put together. This is really needed. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. That's the end of my meeting.
Personnel Committee, Councilman O'Neill.
I have no items to discuss other than the committee has.
Moving on to citizen comment. Any citizen comment? Yes, sir.
My name's Joe Ida. I'm at 16 East Street with you in the Borough in October. First of all, thank you for appointing me to the Planning Commission. I've been working in this field for 30 years now, and presenting to and being part of other planning commissions and safety commissions and municipal projects through the years. So I'm happy to kind of help share my expertise and guide these people, and also to get a better idea of what's going on in the borough. I do have one item that I actually wanted to ask you guys about in parking discussion. Is purpose, because that's my question. Being on Borough Street, and I haven't been in a small borough in a while, there's on-street parking out there, and of course there's always a question of why are you parking in that space? And I know it's street parking and everything, but I do have one concern. I live right across the street from the Race Stars building. It's now a music studio, and apparently there's a tattoo studio and downstairs recording studio, performance studio, practice studio. And I and my neighbors frequently have to deal with all of their clientele parking in their spaces. And we don't know, I heard a rumor that they were told they had parking in the parking lot. So I wanted to know, who would I speak with the manager to find out what's the true story? I have approached the various people there individually and asked them to please at least give us a parking space after 4 o'clock so we can park. And I've met with various steps, but I haven't figured out who's the guy who runs that whole thing, so I can make that clear. So,
I think appropriately would be the manager and the code enforcement officer would be a good start.
Thank you, and I'm happy to be in Borough.
And the name of the business, do you know it?
I don't know, 3 businesses. Every time I ask somebody, they say, "Oh, that's that guy." But it's the studio that does lessons, and downstairs is a band place for bands to get together and do stuff. And I like it. You can't hear it, so it's well put together. And then you have 2 guys upstairs. But you get various different things. I'm not sure what the hours are. It would also be nice to know. And then most of it is all about sporting, so it's not a constant in and out retail type stuff. But it does create a nuisance for all of us on the street with people parking and not knowing when they're going to leave, and my wife gets back at 11 o'clock at night and finding the parking space taken up by someone who is over there, but someone told me, "Oh, they're not open that way." But like the other guy. So I figured I'll talk to the manager and see what's going on. You know, I actually enjoying that part of it. Until I think that I get a little louder, but thank you.
We can have a handicap space.
Yes, sir.
Or your broken leg.
Oh, yeah, my broken leg. Yeah.
Right.
Mr. Trace. You know who I am. You know where I am.
Ron Trace, I'm the president of the Denver Fire Department. I gave to the manager tonight a list of all the officers of the department this year to email addresses of remote and also distribute it to packets and whatever, or it's up to
Yep, we will. Yep.
just again, what's going on. We got our meeting last week. And our fire chief, Chris Pittsburgh, young guy, from he gave us some statistics for last year. I just want to let you be aware of 2023, August from 492 that was golf business, business department in the county. There were 30 departments. And 29 was the district, the busiest engines are in the county. Nearing 280 people. And the truck was the third biggest truck in the county with 270 people. Find out the regional people. And how it's a problem. We do have a meeting tomorrow night to do our planning as far as the event.
President Tracy, we don't normally comment during citizens' comments, so I'm going to break the rule for just a moment and apologize to you. As the chair of the Public Works and Safety Committee, we really should invite you to be able to present your report to us during that committee. Mr. Manager, would you be kind enough to communicate with the President?
That is really my fault for not putting it on the agenda. I know we had that discussion and it was my fault for not. My fault for not.
We'd like you to be an invited guest during that committee report if you would be willing to do that. And the manager will also communicate, I'm sure, the deadline for getting documents into the packet for us. It is so terribly helpful for us to see that ahead of time. We love to hear the good news that you have about the wonderful work that your department is doing. So thank you. Thank you for your personal efforts as well.
Thank you.
Buffalo Road, 212 East Main Street. Has three things. Lieutenant Curtis, what an task that this borough has with gentlemen like that on our force. Two, the Renaissance meeting the other night was fabulous, professionally done. We can tell us by working putting into it. And three, I'm in favor of this borough office moving across the street from me. I'm the fence guy. Very well. So you know, you can type the question in, and I got a quick response back. I just don't want it to look like an incarceration place. Even though I think the visibility of the office being on Main Street would be so much better than hidden away on out. Okay.
You're not going to mind the spotlights and the barbed wire.
It's all good.
No plans for
morning.
There we go. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Would be barbed
Do
wire.
not enter the parking lot. 5, 4.
We're on East Marble Street. A few months ago, when we started the conversation about the community path, you directed me to work with borough staff, work in the language. So I anticipated an interactive process. It has not been that, so I just want to offer again. We and myself personally work with Lower Allen, Upper Allen, Silver Spring, Camden Township in writing that language. So I'm a resource. So use me. I'm certainly happy to come here and answer questions on the fly, but it would be helpful if I could come prepared. So if you're struggling with something, please reach out. We can be of assistance. Again, the Nobody's Cats Foundation, we just celebrated processing 49,000 cats. So we know what we're doing. On a non-cat related topic, I work for the PA Department of Human Services, and one of my responsibilities is I am the director for emergency planning and response. My team is situated in the FEMA building. We have 3 task forces: feeding, sheltering, emergency behavioral health, disability integration. We run training and exercises all the time. My team was selected by FEMA to have Pennsylvania be the national 2024 mass care exercise location. We have 20 states coming to Shippensburg, middle of April or middle of May. It's a week-long mass care sheltering exercise. So I just thought I would share that with you. If you need any help with physician descriptions, resources, grants, things like that, please feel free to reach out. Got a lot of resources in that area.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Any other public comment? Any other business? Nothing.
I just want to say I love this room tonight. It's outside is nasty, but we have so many passionate people here about the borough and what's happening. It's awesome. Joe, thanks for being here and for participating. It's great.
Nothing.
Be careful going home.
School already has a 2-hour delay for tomorrow.
Well, parents like,
I don't know if it's wind chill related or if it's everything icing over, but it might be a combination of the two.
Where's the best place to buy salt this time of night? They're close, aren't they?
I have some for you, but it's gonna cost you.
Is Ritter still open?
Good question.
The only thing I have is that we took action on consent agenda to accept the resignation of Patrol Officer Evan Shipley, and I would just ask that the chief can relay that we're sorry to see him go. We thank him for his service to the borough. And we wish him the best in his future endeavors. That's all I have. We're adjourned.